So most people know the story of Cain and Abel, right? Yeah, Cain kills Abel, and basically because God found Abel's, and they were brothers, and God found Abel's offerings as more pleasing than Cain's. Because besides Cain having just a really bad attitude, he basically gave God his scraps, whereas Abel gave God the best of the best, what he produced. So that's in the Bible, but there's some teachings not in the Bible, but in some of the Jewish literature that talks about how Cain came from a different baby daddy, basically. Yeah. And that the baby daddy Cain came from, whereas Abel came from Adam, but that Eve possibly had sexual relations with, that serpent that created helped create the original sin that happened in the garden. And the serpent is Lucifer, is not the fallen angel, is the angel that is casted out of hell, or casted out of heaven, not hell. It's casted out of heaven, excuse me. So that's who tempts Eve, and then after the tempting went on as that angel to have sex, and then she had Cain. And there could be some possibilities to this, and I say this because of the book of Jude, which is the book right before the book of Revelations. It's only 2 pages long, if that. And it talks about how some of the angels, they left their proper place of dwelling and came down and were doing corruptible things with man, and man was doing corruptible things with the angels. Yes. So it could be possible that Cain, considering that there was just this wickedness in him. It was the first murder, killing Abel. Was the first murder really in history. So, and all because of jealousy. And of course he would give God, the true God, his scraps, because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? That is if Cain was born of the baby daddy Lucifer. Don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. And I'm throwing that out there for a reason. Because when you start looking at these people's, like their family lines, you see this pattern. And what it is, no matter what era it is, their family line seems to always be involved in the side of being on the sinister side. Yeah. So, Bill Ayers, for instance. Yeah. I've done a lot of videos recently about Bill Ayers, who him and Obama were good buddies. Yes, and Bill Ayers, obviously, with his wife Bernadine Dorn, they went on to create the Weather Underground group that bombed the Capitol. And here I'm going to give you a couple of his quotes himself, because he's never repented for this. Neither have any of them, either one of them, ever served time in jail. Quote, "My weapons were explosive words at first, slowly replaced by bombs." Yep. He broke Michigan Avenue shop windows during the Weatherman 1969 Days of Rage. So you could look at your Days of Rage no different than BLM when they go and start setting things on fire and all that. Same thing. He helped create a bunch of radicals. He helped LSD guru Timothy Leary break out of prison. He stockpiled stolen dynamite. This is all stuff he's written in his books. Some exploded in a New York townhouse, killing members of what came to be known as the Weather Underground. Also planted explosives in government buildings, including the Defense Department. He did bomb the Capitol, and they cased this is a quote by him. "We already bombed the Capitol, and we cased the White House. The Pentagon was leg 2 of the trifecta." From Bill Ayers himself. He has never, ever repented from this. And you may think, because I think he tries to play off that he's, came from rough upbringings. No, he didn't. He was born and raised in Glen Ellen. Okay, I spent a short time when I was little in Glen Ellen. It's an elitist town. He came from an elitist family, very elitist. In fact, I talked about his dad recently, and his dad is Thomas G. Ayers, and I said how he is the CEO, or was for many years, of Commonwealth Edison, which is the electric company for Illinois. He also I was like on the board for Walt Disney and many major companies. He also just happened to be a member of Northwestern's Board of Trustees for 30 years and chair from 1975 to 1986. In 1984, the university named Ayers Residential College of Commerce and Industry, which was a 164-student resident hall, in recognition of his service. I believe this Residential College of Commerce and Industry is actually the Industrial Area Foundation where Obama was trained in Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radical Tactics. Yep. Because it's obviously a small college, 164 students, and obviously you would just want the most radical to do that, be involved in getting that teaching. And yes, Obama was taught in Rules for Radicals, and he went on to teach it himself. And Bill Ayers, of course. That's why they were good buddies. So Bill Ayers' wife, Bernadine Dorns, got a position at Northwestern without faculty voting on it. They created a special position for her to teach law. And of all things, what she taught was the title of her course was Children in Trouble with the Law. The very people that shouldn't be near children. But that's how it is with everything. Like University of Illinois' psychiatry department should not be over DCFS because of reasons I've stated in many videos. And then even Mayor Daley, I know a lot of people may not know who he is. He was a mayor in Chicago, but his whole family goes back to politics. It's all like the bloodlines. Mayor Daley proclaimed about Bill Ayers, a valued member of the Chicago community. Quote, "I don't condone what he did 40 years ago, but I remember that period well. It was a difficult time, but those days are long over." Unbelievable. Well, no, not really, because they're all just unbelievable, though, because they never paid for what they did. I've said before, Bernadine Dorn was on the FBI's most wanted list, but they went on to get those elite positions. Bill Ayers becoming a professor at University of Illinois, at Chicago, being able to push his radical views, continue on to the kids, and then Bernadine Dorn getting in because Bill Ayers' dad was a lifetime member of Northwestern University's Board of Trustees. So that's what I mean. Like, so when I looked into Bill Ayers' background, going back like to see the family lineage, it went far back. I think I got to 1100 or 1200, and I found a Jule, Jule, Caesar Ayers. Julius Caesar. Because they changed, they changed the letters a lot. It just happens throughout history. But it was Jule Caesar Ayers. And again, when I looked, and there were some others in his lineage I looked at going way back. And again, always involved on the sinister side of things. So it just makes me wonder about the whole CAIN thing, because maybe it is a DNA problem, literally. And what does the elite, so those 13 families do? They deliberately create trauma on their children because they want to remove remorse. They do. Because they care more about having power and money and control than anything else. It's hard for many people to believe, but it's what they do. And that's the reason why you get your Bill Ayers types. Because it happened to them, they go on to do it to others. Yep. It's a vicious cycle, like it's in the blood. It's in the DNA, possibly. And maybe that DNA goes all the way back to CAIN.